And it's time to set it off for another hump day.
You took the words right out my mouth. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Island Tea. I hope you are all feeling as hyped up as I am, or it might be my coffee. What are you having today?
Coffee.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What did you blend up something today?
I had tea yesterday. Well, you must have been over my shoulder. No, I just added some cinnamon and added some vanilla for the first time.
Cinnamon and what?
Vanilla.
Oh, vanilla. Oh,
Yeah, the real vanilla, not essence. I mean, actual vanilla.
Oh, wow.
Extract,
Not you knocking vanilla. So I'm actually having coffee too, but I have creamer in mine. I don't like to drink it black, and my creamer is vanilla too. So yay, cheers. We're matching. So it has been quite an interesting week. Like, I can't even believe it's Wednesday. I feel as though we're much further along in the week. But I am reminded that it is Wednesday because we usually do hump day. Today we have a packed schedule. So I hope you guys stay tuned. This morning we're having the St. Kitts Cricket Association visit us again. Yesterday they weren't quite able to accomplish the goals they had set for themselves in terms of the interview. So they're back this morning. So stay tuned, all you cricket fans. And then, of course, we have the farm report where farmers come in and give us feedback on what is actually happening out there and how they're progressing as it relates to the issues and their and the government's response.
I was saying he's bringing a guest.
He's bringing a guest.
Yeah.
Do you know who it is, or is it going to be a
No,
surprise?
he just said he's bringing a guest.
Oh.
So I'm thinking it's probably a farmer.
Ah.
Yeah. Probably managed to whip one of them into shape, you know.
Oh my gosh. And then we're going to be visited by the CFBC Jenkins Leadership Course. Someone from the course is going to pop in just to give us an update. As we all know, they've been having quite a lot of activity as they celebrate their, is it 10 years? Am I correct? 10 years independence? Not independence, existence anniversary.
I actually didn't remember. Oh, it's been going on that long?
I think it's 10 years, if my memory serves me correct. Okay. I mean, I might be pushing it in terms of relying on my memory, but I really do think it's 10 years.
I'm sure they'll
when
tell
Mr.
us when they
Jenkins
come.
visited with us, right? So stay tuned, guys. We have an extremely packed program this morning. We had one yesterday. I feel like it's Thursday, and it's only Wednesday. So stay tuned.
So last night I went jogging, right? And
in the night, lucky you.
Well, it was early evening, and I went past the. I went to check out where they're having the open day.
The agriculture open day. It looks as though it's going to be even bigger this year.
Yeah, it's big, and it's 2 days. It's usually 2 days. But,
right.
Yeah,
but they moved it from La Grite, and they're having it right there next to the National Heroes Park.
Just to the south of the National Heroes Park.
They took up quite a bit of space. Did you guys see the tents? Yeah, there are quite a number of tents there.
It's easy. Nice, you can join us.
Yes, yes, I am here. I am here, people. I am here.
That smoothie looks good.
Yeah.
Tempting.
Mm-hmm. It has some mango. It has some blueberries. It has some
it's
strawberries.
The blueberries for me. Yep.
It has some protein as well. Yes.
The way you said protein,
because I was trying to remember what else is in it.
I wonder if it's spiked.
You didn't put in a ganja leaf or two?
It's the way he said protein that made me look over like, huh? Are we talking about the same thing?
Interesting. You mentioned that there was a video that has been published by the People's Action Movement just yesterday.
A video?
Yeah, with General Powell speaking about the marijuana and the 420.
Remember I sent you guys the open letter, the essay he did?
Yes, you did.
You mean the thing with to smoke or not to smoke?
Yeah, to smoke or not to smoke.
So he had another...
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he did?
Enlighten us.
Yeah.
You can send it to me, maybe I can play it. If
well, it's 10 minutes long.
Oh, gosh.
10 minutes,
yeah. So,
all right, summarize.
Well, basically, as we know, as the law permits now, especially when we look at the case law, it recognizes the use of smoking or being able to smoke for religious purposes, and also in the privacy of your own home. We recognize that the Attorney General sometime last year would have spoken about sanctioning persons, finding persons who were seen to have been smoking in public. And right now we see where it is that the Ministry of Tourism for the music festival has announced that there is going to be a 420 music festival is going to be 420. And I think what the question is on what authority is the minister applying that law, or expressing her authority, recognizing that the law has not changed as it relates to smoking in public places. And in addition to that, we have the Medicinal Act, and the Medicinal Act that has been passed, and the sections that have been operationalized speak towards marijuana use for medicinal purposes.
Right.
So it's not a situation where, we are a progressive nation, we want to go forward, and we want to ensure that, there is a recognition of the plant, the use of the plant, but it's a question of the legality and not applying law and enforcing law when it's suitable to you.
But you have to assume, to be fair, you have to assume that if the minister said that, if Marsha said that there probably will be legislation by June to straighten out all the questions.
And I did say that when we were speaking about it on Monday, because I feel as though they must know that this is what the AG said, this is what exists, and then shortly after that they fully activated the medicinal section of the act. So they must know that they have to address recreational use,
in
especially if you're
spaces.
gonna if you're going to advertise that our festival is going to be 420 friendly.
Another issue was,
I'm hoping that it's in the works as we speak.
Looking at and I think it goes beyond the marijuana use. Of course, it's not the issue of the use of marijuana.
Right.
But another issue is the enforcement of laws. When laws are going to be enforced, should they only be enforced or relaxed when it is that it is a government authority?
Right.
We're
I
looking
think
at it
ideally
at a whole.
speaking, they should have
Yeah.
covered the parts that they know they want to enforce. They should have covered that first. So it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse,
Yeah.
if I may say
And
so.
you look at music festival. I persons keep saying, for persons made the comment where it is that they say music festival is a private entity. No, music festival is a public entity. The fact that the music festival is run by under the Ministry of Tourism,
Right.
the fact that it has a tourism authority and everything like that, and it's operating with a public function, it's within the space and the parameters of a government authority. So, again, is it that only when it's suitable to government that we enforce certain things? What about the persons, the local promoters? Is it that they're going to also not enforce the law during those times? Is it that they're going to create equal opportunity for those persons who have private parties?
I'm hoping they had the good foresight to know that this was going to come up.
I mean, remember I mentioned the double standard thing. Clearly, that falls under the double standard. So, like I said, it's fair to assume that they're going to.
What was the double standard thing? Because
one, that you're only doing a 420 friendly event because you want to accommodate foreigners, when you could have done it. Someone will say, well, you could have done it for what happened to Cool Fete, what happened to Carnival, what happened to Inception, what happened to all the.
But had we gotten that far along in our decriminalizing process?
No. I'm just saying. This is. I'm just trying to illustrate the double standard that people probably.
Because we still haven't gone any further.
Agreed.
And
right, and that's my point.
Yeah, we still haven't
it's
gone any
unfair
further.
to say that they weren't doing it for locals when it's still
And
in the
they have to-
process.
they have
They're
to
still
start
developing
somewhere.
it as
Right.
we go.
What's wrong
and
with
it just
starting
so
with-
happens that music festival
Is the
happened
first-
before the others.
Well, let's
hope
again,
that this sets the precedent.
Let's hope that that they do carve out some legislation, or they do some amendment to allow, because as it stands presently, the legality of it. And again, it's not to.
This is a good exercise for them, So they'll get it sorted out for Music Festival, and then they'll get feedback, of course. And so whatever is lacking or whatever errors occur, they'll be able to correct it as we go forward. Because like I said, when I spoke with Alistair, the chairman of the Music Festival, he indicated that they were still, working out the kinks. They were still creating what the area for 420 would be like. I think somebody called in on Monday and they were asking, and I mentioned this. It's still a work in progress. And I honestly really do hope that, our tourism minister is a lawyer, our AG, of course, he's a lawyer. And I think that they would at least have the foresight to know that they have to put out the legislation that matches what they're advertising.
Exactly.
So that you can't say it's illegal to smoke in public and then, you could go to music festival and smoke and then what?
Again,
right?
but
unless they're trying to arrest the whole 420 lounge, right?
or they ignore it at that point, but when you do it the following day, they enforce it. That should not be. It should not.
Well, like I said, let's be fair and let them roll out the legislation, which I'm sure they will do. And listen, and this is coming from Mr. Cynic here. Who,
I know.
who constantly,
He's honest.
I
Yes.
constantly say that our politicians are a waste of time and they're tone deaf to our entreaties to do better and all that. But let's be fair, let's give them a chance. They have 2 months roughly. Let's see what they do. I'm sure they're gonna go and do legislation that addresses all of that. I mean, Garth is a smart guy.
Yeah, and yes, and again, that is what the hope is, and to ensure, before.
But to give credit where credit is due, it is also good that our opposition is up and paying attention, and they had the good foresight to point this out and to keep the public on their toes, right? Because I'm sure there were other persons thinking of it, but not everybody's in a position to make a statement like that. And so good keeping them on their toes.
Azard licking his chops, huh?
I don't know what
I
she.
did not call Azard's name.
I just listening to Candy what she's saying.
I'm just teasing.
He loves it.
I'm just teasing Casey. One other thing on a slightly solemn, well, not very solemn note, actually. Something that.
Is it the link that I sent you? Because I've been
No,
looking at it
the David
all
Rudder
morning.
thing. I wanted to mention.
I was
Oh,
talking
yes.
about Harry Belafonte.
Well, I was coming
and
to
I'm
that
so
as well.
saddened
Yes,
by that.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
go ahead. You go
No.
first.
I was just gonna say, well, folks, I know there are a lot of ailments that some people probably think have nothing to do with us, and I think David Rudder has just been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I know a lot of people love David Rudder, so
I do.
That might
I
make
really
it
love
slightly
him.
more relatable,
Wow. Yeah, saw
he
the
said,
article.
he said he's gonna continue performing.
For as long as he can.
Yeah, but he said he's not doing the 4-hour concerts anymore. Man, how many people do 4-hour
I
concerts?
know.
So if he goes
I
out to
know.
2 hours, that's still pretty good, right?
Yep.
So
I think
it's such a pity.
it really is. The first time I was introduced to Parkinson's disease was with Michael J. Fox. I think he has been a good spokesperson for the
He has.
disease because he brought so much awareness to it and education.
Muhammad Ali had it as well.
Muhammad Ali.
So for persons who don't know what Parkinson's disease is,
Right.
Parkinson's disease is a brain disorder that causes unintended or uncontrollable movements such as shaking, stiffness, and difficulty with balance and coordination.
And if you're thinking about David Rudder, he is a person that walks along the stage a lot, dances, does the little tapping of the feet, the shaking, the movement. So if you're that type of active person, and even with Muhammad Ali, he was a boxer.
Yeah.
Always an active person. And I suspect maybe the boxing might have triggered that
Absolutely.
because all those
Yeah.
blows to the head.
Yes.
But it really is sad. And any disease that, is debilitating or causes you to not be yourself anymore. And I know you guys know I've been crying out for pain for the last couple of weeks. And Azard was marveled yesterday seeing me wear
You've been drinking
a
moringa?
machine. Yes, I have, sir.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
I drink it at night. But I was kind of scared that it would
after
counteract
this
with
show,
my medication.
After this show, she unplugged herself. Yes.
Right. And so I feel like I can speak from a position of living with and being in pain constantly. And so persons don't quite understand how difficult it is to continue your regular lifestyle when you're in so much pain. And it makes me think of Chadwick, the guy for Black Panther.
Yeah.
No one knew that he was living and experiencing so much pain because he kept up with his daily schedule.
Yes.
And credit must be given to persons actually living and existing and functioning as normal with pain, and I'm speaking from a personal perspective.
And I mean, as the disease progresses, people may have difficulty in walking and talking.
Yeah.
They may also have mental and behavioral control changes, sleep problems, depression, memory difficulty, and fatigue.
You know, the good thing is, I think they've made so many strides in that particular disease research that I think if David gets in touch with, the right persons, he
And he lives in Canada, so that helps.
he might be able
You know?
to get help, and because like I said, they've made so many strides in research in that particular area. Good, best of luck, good luck.
Yeah,
and
let's
I
go on
hope
to
that he is able to still do what he loves.
Yes. Our other Caribbean treasure now.
Yes. So let me first of all just mention how handsome this man was. Like, the first time I saw him, I was like, well, hello. Right? He was always a looker. Even when he got up into his 80s and 90s. Harry Belafonte.
And the voice.
He is fine, and his voice was amazing. And, I found out so much about him just out of curiosity, firstly, and then just because I did some just little background research, because, like, who is this man? And then now that he's passed, you're finding out more. When people die, like, people started saying things that you probably might not have known before. So I found out that he was very instrumental in that We Are the World concert. He was one of the persons that was very instrumental in putting it together to fight famine in Africa.
Africa, yeah.
And I remember as a kid, I knew that song word for word. I would sing to the top of my lungs. You know I can't sing. My aunts and my uncles, they were so into it, and we watched the concert together. They had the magazines, and all this time I did not know that he was one of the driving forces behind that. He also brought light to our Caribbean just by the songs that he sang, and then I found out that he was right there with Martin Luther King along with the civil rights movement.
He actually put his career on the line by standing up with those guys, and he'd go to meetings when Mr. King would meet with the president at the time. He would be there, and he would be there at all the giving speeches. He gave a speech at the famous speech at
the bridge.
No, the mall in Washington D.C. The famous, the long
the Lincoln
area.
Monument.
Yes,
right.
He gave a speech there as well.
Wow.
Shari Belafonte from Coming to America. That's his daughter.
That's his daughter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of that movie?
Of course.
You ever heard of Eddie Murphy?
Yes, yes, I have.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So not to segue, right? But as soon as he asked that, and he's like, "Have you ever heard of Eddie Murphy?" I was like,
I'm teasing.
Have you ever watched Shrek?
Oh yes.
You watch Shrek?
I am obsessed
I've watched
with
it already.
Shrek.
Shocking.
Fiona and Shrek, right?
My entire family knows how obsessed I am with Shrek. But that's like a big segue.
Yeah.
But I love Shrek.
Yes.
So we keep losing, and the more, I guess, the longer you live, the more you're confronted with death. And this morning, as I was looking at the news and they're bringing it over, and I'm thinking to myself, he lived to 96. How many of us get to that age one, and how many of us can say that we lived a full life? Because I was running back in my head, and I'm like, the only person that I personally knew that lived to that age was my great-grandmother. And when she passed, yes, we were sad, but we all would sit and talk about how she got to do everything that she ever wanted to do. She lived a full life. So I think, like, for me, the moral of this is live your life, enjoy your life, do all the things that you want to do, because you don't know when your number is going to get called.
Yeah.
You don't know when your time is going to be up. And for me, I would like for people to say, well, yes, she lived a full life. She did all the things that she wanted to do. So I'm definitely seizing the day.
Yeah.
It's too short. You never know when it's going to be like,
8:25. Coming up at 8:30, we are going to be having our second round with the candidates for the SKCA presidency and executive. They're big election is happening tomorrow, Thursday.
Tomorrow,
Tell us
yes.
what
Yeah.
SKCA means
Oh,
for the persons that don't know.
St. Kitts Cricket Association. St. Kitts Cricket Association. Yes.
Awesome. Because yesterday I was having a conversation and then they go SKC and I'm like, oh yeah, think doing the little math in my head,
Yep.
right? But yeah, I'm looking forward to that because yesterday their interview was cut short. They came a little bit late, so kind of gave them a lecture on
Yes,
that,
and,
and it's
yeah.
happy.
Oh, I certainly
I'm happy
did.
to see that they're
I certainly
early,
did.
very early this morning.
Yes. Because they had so much things to touch.
Right.
So many things.
I mean, because they didn't get down into
Yes.
what they're going to be doing
Right.
to actually improve the cricket experience and
I think all our cricket experts are sitting waiting patiently. You know, yesterday when I was busy asking you guys the name of that cricketer, somebody on YouTube had actually sent me the answer.
Yes, about three different people. Sent me. Dwyer sent me. Two other people sent me. Yeah.
Good. So it
so-
means persons are listening.
yeah.
So hopefully the cricketers or
So-
the executives
Yes.
get to put
So the
forward their
BVI
plans.
had the election on Monday, and yesterday we spoke about them having to write to the Governor General as there was no clear majority from any party capturing the necessary number of seats. And here there is an article that was published by Loop and
Last
16
night, right?
hours ago, yeah. So now they have a coalition government in the British Virgin Islands, in which Dr. Natalio Wheatley will be sworn in as premier. So
Right. I
they-
did see that, but I didn't read the article. It was too late last night.
yeah. So they are. So the BVI is going to have a coalition government.
So they're preparing for swearing in today.
Yeah, they're to be sworn in. So that is an update on it and the elections. So coalition government to be formed.
I
We've-
can't
I
help but
think-
say, here we go again.
Yeah, I think Sinks and Nevis has had so much experiences with a coalition government.
It would be interesting to see what happens next election. I feel like a lot of persons were not sold on it, and then when it ultimately failed, they were kind of like, I knew this wasn't going to work. I told you guys this wasn't going to work type of
Yeah.
thing. Because I remember we had like a very older gentleman in here, and he was like, I was never for it. I never thought it was going to work. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see how this goes.
I
But I know
mean,
it's worked in the past in different, places.
I mean, coalition governments, they come with their own challenges. You know,
They
you have different
honestly do.
parties. You have to be on the same wavelength.
yeah.
And you're operating with persons. And again, different political parties might have different vision or, different goals. They're supposed to align and ensure that they are, coordination and communication. That
It's
no other
always-
party feels disenfranchised.
It's always interesting to see them work together because initially they would have been bashing the other person, and then it's like, yeah, we have no choice. We kind of have to hold hands and get along, right? And I know, for me, I was very skeptical. I saw what happened in Guyana. It was about 3-4 parties come together to form the government before this one that we had now. And interestingly enough, they worked well together. I'm pretty sure they had ding-dong, carrying on, tear out in close quarters. But even though that they are not necessarily together like that anymore, you still don't see them coming out and bashing the other. So it's, in some cases, I feel like it can work if everybody is grown enough and mature enough to understand that, look, we're all working towards the same cause, even though we approach it from different aspects. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed, let's see what happens in
And
the
I
BVI.
think what we've seen recent is that persons within the Caribbean, especially younger politicians, they aren't afraid of walking out of a situation or leaving parties. We've seen that in Anguilla, and we've seen that in a couple other Caribbean countries where it is that, no one is sticking and staying.
Go where you're happy.
Yes. And we've seen it here in our
Exactly.
country as well.
I thought that's what you would have led with, so I was waiting.
Yes,
Yeah.
no one is sticking and staying. Even if you look at the NRP situation, where one of its elected members during the 2022 election after there was some
Right, that's true.
no meeting of the minds on certain issues, that person decided
So they left.
to leave. Yeah, after there was a conditional suspension
Right.
of that individual.
Right. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So we've
Politics
seen-
keeps being interesting.
Yeah, we've seen, political parties and everything. Politics is always an interesting thing. Yeah, so we're going to have a little change in plan. We're going to have we're going to have a social security now. Yeah, but I know we would have spoken previously and say that we'll have the cricketers here at this point in time.
So slight segue.
Yeah, a slight segue. But we do have Social Security now, and we're going to invite them in. Let's take a short break, Jamster, and come back. Let's go.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St. Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horseman & Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts Nevis. King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas.
Social security. Social security. Social security. Social security. When I young and I walk and me bust it up, I make sure he pay. So when I hold and I call and I rest in me soul, me pension is there. If I sick or maybe a suffer, I drop injury. It's the same social security looking out for me.
It's 8:32, and it's the regular monthly wrap-up for Social Security, and we've got Camila on deck. Good morning, Camila.
Good morning.
And
Yes.
she
Hi,
has
Cam.
not put on her headphones yet.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
You know those
I
headphones.
am not gonna let you
get me
guys
as well.
attack the other female that is in
No.
here to bring me back up. So
Attack Camila, never that. No.
it's not like she would allow it anyway.
Good morning.
How are you,
Yes.
Fabulous. Anything
Yes.
less would be uncivilized.
There you go.
I love that.
So
Yes.
tell us what you're here to talk about this morning.
Well, this morning on Because You Deserve a Future, our monthly dedicated time for me to engage our stakeholders. Today we're going to be continuing the discussion on reform.
Yes.
In February, we celebrated our 45th anniversary, and the Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Terence Dew, who is also the Minister of Social Security, made it clear, and even through our theme, which is Transform, Reform, Thrive, Social Security 45, that we are a mature Social Security fund. And in his words, the ball has been kicked, or the can has been kicked along the road long enough now, and it's time to take it up. Social Security systems are designed to work effectively based on demographics presented for a 30-year cycle, and we are already 45 years.
Oh, yes.
Congrats. That's a big number.
Big
That is a
number.
Big number.
Yes.
Big number, but more significant is the fact that we are 15 years behind the time of making prescribed changes according to Social Security systems. So our fund stands unshakable at 1.7 billion in reserves, the second largest in the OECS. And that's only because of size. St. Lucia is number one, but we are only 68 square miles.
Yes.
So that's incredible to know that our fund, based on decisions made by our first national hero, Sir Robert Llewellyn Bratcher, E. St. John Payne, Bryant, all of those forefathers for Social Security, two critical decisions come up every time there's a discussion about Social Security. The fact that we said, hey, we're going to move from 60, which was the NPF retirement age, to 62, plus the fact that we've maintained the contribution level that was given before. So we moved everything that was NPF. We didn't decrease it. We added 2 more years, so that gave the fund some buffer to be able to sustain 15 years longer, in addition to our very prudent financial management and administration at Social Security. So we're boasting. Bad.
Apparently, that's what I'm getting over here. But hey, go
Bad.
ahead.
Main pretending.
All of us pay into Social Security,
Yeah.
so I'm liking these numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good thing. But on the flip side, there are diminishing factors.
Yes.
We are getting less children. Some of us are deciding not to get any for various reasons. We don't want our hair to be,
I don't know. I'm feeling attacked here.
we're in a sisterhood.
Yes.
But for various reasons, we have smaller families. Our parents mine got 4. My grandparents got, my mother was different because my grandmother only had 3. But on my father's side, they had about 7. And I have friends who tell me, they have 13 uncles and that sort of thing. So families were bigger.
Yes, they were.
And so with that given, we have a smaller contributor base, plus we have persons who are living longer. Despite the challenge of us saying, I know this person went to school with me, they're dead now.
Yes.
The reality is far more persons are living longer. When my parents were 62, I recall physically my grandmother's back being bent because she still had to work.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Right? My mother's 70 and hot.
Let me tell you.
You understand? She has healthy living. She has the dignity of a pension, which makes her even more feisty.
Yes.
Because she will say, I want such and such. And I say, I don't think you need such. She said, oh, no, I got my social. You go down the road, take off my money and bring it, give me.
I got my money.
Good. Right? And so we see persons are living longer and we have a smaller contributor base. In addition to that, we have a growing informal sector. When we were in school, our parents told us, go to school and get a good job. Now we're telling our children, go to school so you could create your own employment. So we're seeing more persons going into entrepreneurship, like the wonderful Candisie here, who wears multiple hats.
Yes.
Right? So we have seen more people going in informal spaces to work, and that has an impact on Social Security. It's not like we have a self-employed corner, so we could go over there and talk to all of them. They're evasive. They operate from their home. They operate online. They operate out of the federation. So it's difficult for us to capture that very large growing sector. In addition to realities, work life, people expect more and want to work less.
Yes. Yes.
So at Social Security, we are at the stage of not just talking about it anymore. We have to move into sensitization and implementation if we want our Social Security fund to survive. I don't want ever to be around or it forever to happen that after I done talk all these 21 years that me down there kicking and throwing stone because we don't have a solid Social Security.
So at this point in time, the Social Security is going through, they're having thoughts of reformation. I know, and I've said it on more than one occasion. If you look at France, they now are going through the age limit, removing the age for pension. At one point in time, it was at 62, and now it's going towards 64, and that has caused some ruckus. So to speak.
And you see, sometimes it's not the move, it's the method.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So the sensitization is important, the engagement is important, and people's understanding and acceptance will be measured by their sensitization
Yes.
to what you're saying, because 62 to 64 ain't a big jump.
I know, but like you said, it's the way. And I must admit that you guys have done an awesome job with the sensitization, because often on Saturdays, I would listen to either you or Tasha on Freedom. And I know for a fact that you guys put in the work as it relates to educating the public. So tell us a little bit more about how you're going to approach this reform. Apart from, like, what are you using to sensitize?
Firstly, reform is not tomorrow. There's no date, but we have, in our conversation, I want to make sure it's out there. And it has never, at a point where we stopped, well, sometime in the past, we had stopped speaking about it. But recently, we have said, we really need to make a move. And I like to bring back the analogy that I used to go club every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We older now, and even though my mind won't do it, my body can't handle it. We age, things change, and so we have to pick up where we're at, accept where we're at, and make the move. So I don't want the public to go away feeling scared that tomorrow you're going to hear, well, pension ain't 62 no more, it's some other number. So the sensitization is a part of us getting the public ready, for whetting their appetite. We are also doing a lot of work in terms of bringing in various forms of communication. We recently had a virtual panel discussion.
Yes, I saw that.
Where we had Dr. Valda Henry from the Central Bank, she's the deputy governor, who was speaking on the socio-political framework of social security systems, the will to make the change despite persons' political agendas and so on, because outside of politics, social security is solid.
Right, it still has to exist. It has nothing to do with who's in power.
No.
I see it as more for the people, for your interest. And I've spoken to a lot of self-employed persons, because I will definitely testify that you were the person that made me realize and sign up for self-employment and paying. She makes a good case. Like, she can sell Iceland Eskimo at this point.
I like it.
But I will testify that she was the person who made me sign up. And I've actually been, passing it along, passing the baton along. Because a lot of persons don't realize that if you're self-employed, you better be paying into that pension so you can get a pension.
Exactly,
right?
because there's going to come a day as a self-employed person, your hands won't work the same. You can't paint the same. You can't organize events the same. You can't. It's human. It's who we are. The circle of life, you see it, I'm a little baby, full of life. We get to maturity, and then we diminish, and we're a baby again as adults. And so we have to prepare. And so that's why we're using the various forms. One of the challenges is that self-employed sector. The work is seasonal, and you have so much other commitments. And some self-employed persons even put their staff ahead of them, making sure that they keep the coverage up to date for their staff, but they leave out themselves.
I was
Because,
guilty.
yeah, I have one more bill to pay, I have this to do, I have that to do. But there's going to come a point. We don't know when sickness is going to come upon us. We don't know when an accident, invalidity, something can change your ability to actively, gainfully work for yourself and provide for yourself. There's the argument also by the self-employed, oh, I got pension by an insurance company, or I have my own savings. But one bout of illness can knock out everything you've worked for.
Preach.
So we know we have a lot of work to do. Stakeholders engagement in different forms. We started the year, February, with a breakfast forum where we brought in all the stakeholders to gauge their appetite, let them know this is the move we have to make and we have to start now. And then we're going to continue with our usual work in addition to sensitization through town hall meetings, various forums, whether it's a virtual panel discussion, in-house meetings, smaller groups, focused groups, so that people can understand where we are. And we are very transparent with the process. If you go on our website, socialsecurity.kn, you would see we have the actuarial reports, which is an independent report. It is done every 3 years by the actuary, Mr. Derek Osborne. He resides outside of St. Kitts, so it's not part, in a body bias to whatever it is. He has been with us for a long time, but he is very accurate. When I look at what he writes to what the realities turns out to be, I don't know if he's somebody close to God, but he is. So if you go on our website, socialsecurity.kn, go under the publications tab, you will see as far back as the 7th actuarial review. It's done every 3 years.
Right.
So this morning I was looking. Sometimes I just get up early and feel inspired. That is I'm too aren't it? Like write down things in the middle of the night and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was looking at projections from the 12th one. We are actually now in the 13th actuarial review, which is at every 3 year. And he made a projection of our contribution income, proposed projection from 2018 to 2020. And he said, it's going to be around $302 million, right?
Yeah.
And the actual was 284.3, just 6% below what was projected.
Oh.
And he's able to do this and say, what your projection would be like for your administrative costs. And it's very like, do this one, administration.
And you said that was, he made that prediction how many years ago?
He does this every 3 years.
Every 3 years. The reason why I said that, the last time he would have done it perhaps would have been in 2020 then.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID.
And then COVID. So even though he is off by 6%,
he would have been spot on. Like, it's amazing.
And had it, because I'm sure COVID would have played a factor there, perhaps in the disparity, even the 6%.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Because Social Security was very helpful during the whole process.
That alone should have people running to Social Security, especially the self-employed.
Yeah.
Because Social Security at that point, it's not in our mandate to do.
Yep.
But we understood the impact on the economy if we didn't. And so nearly 25 million was expended for that period, right? Mm-hmm. Something that we didn't plan for.
Right.
Exactly.
Something that is not in our mandate to do. But that should have just had people running in the doors, especially self-employed, to register.
That is so true, because I remember persons were actually asking me, and I'm like, Lord have mercy, I barely know a little bit. But, the little that I know, I shared, because I remember you guys did help the self-employed as long as you were paying into it.
But guess what?
They got back.
Not even if you were paying, if you had registered and had not even paid once, that was something that I don't think will ever happen again.
I know.
Right? But the fact that you had committed and we saw that everybody was going to be suffering, everybody suffered in some way or form.
Yep.
So it's important that we see the value of Social Security, and we want people to ask us the hard questions. Ask us, hold us accountable, make us show you the receipts, as young people would say, because this is important. Regardless of which political agenda, regardless of your age, we don't know when life will change upon us.
But I must give you guys kudos, and I'm guessing it's in part and parcel of your reform. I used to have to get up and come in and submit my C3s, and they upgraded the wizard. So, and it actually tells you when it's due.
Yeah.
So you can sign in, you can fill it out, you can submit it. I'm waiting patiently for the pay aspect.
Yes.
Because I still have to send the check down.
Yes. Yes. That's
So
the downfall, but it calculates.
I'm
It
guessing
does.
It's in the works.
It's
right?
in the works, yes, because we can't only reform outside. It has to be done inside. So our internal systems are also undergoing reform to make business more efficient, transform the processes. You probably will be able to stay on home and see when we deposit your checks to your account and all that sort of stuff. We recognize that we have to move. We can't be providing 2023 services with a 1978 infrastructure.
Amen.
So we are going through internal reform as well as external reform. So it's a lot of rigorous work right now at Social Security.
That's good. And I am definitely one of the persons that will call and harass you guys, So your MIS department probably knows me now, because as soon as I have one little glitch, I'm on the phone. And so I know them by name now.
No, that's cool.
I'm actually
But they've
going
been
to
very,
the website
very
as we
helpful.
speak.
And I honestly have seen the changes.
Thank you.
Right? So I am going to say congrats and kudos. You guys have been doing an excellent job as it relates to reform. Because for somebody who is always involved in it, because I want to make sure, like I always tell myself, I was like, no, you're going to make me go on social security list. Come, go and pay the
Yeah.
go and pay the C3, right? So I've seen the changes and I'm happy with them, and I definitely am going to hold you guys,
We
to the
want
fire.
people to
I
hold
want
us
to see
accountable.
more.
So, Azard, you were looking on the website.
Let's hear.
And
So I hear
you're
looking
scrolling.
at, yeah, I hear looking at the booklet. You guys have a nice booklet here as it relates to self-employment and the registration of those who are self-employed. So I see
Welcome,
that.
sir.
I see that.
He's just joined the self-employed batch.
Yes.
It's quite, all the resources are there, and we're quite amenable. We are reachable. We pride ourselves on being people-focused, people-friendly. We are relatable. So if you want the high end, we could go high end. If you want the local plans, we can give you that, because we have to meet people where they are and provide the information in a way that people understand. So the resources are there, but if you don't want to go through all of that, you can call us. We have very active WhatsApp numbers, 662-8479 and 667-2535. And then the regular lines, 465-2535 or 469-5245 on Nevis. We are trying to make sure that there's nobody who can say they've never, ever heard anything about Social Security. We even go as far as primary schools. So every year we have our primary school circuit. We'll be starting next week.
Oh, wow. What is that like?
Very fun. We go in and we introduce the topic of Social Security in a fun way, using role play, giving them an idea of good employers, bad employers. We have the students come up and act out Mr. Con, Mr. Victim,
Oh, wow.
Mistake. Mistake is an interesting story because her boss is Mr. C Heat. When you put it together, is Mr. Cheat. And he, with Mistake, agree not to pay Social Security. But then they fall out. And the first place she come to tell on Mr. Cheat is at Social Security. So the students has come up with some fancy. It'll be good because usually it's around music festival time coming up. So she said, don't pay me my money. I want my money to go. So
That's such a fun.
Yeah,
That's
fun
good,
thing,
but it's good
yes.
to get it into them early.
Yes.
Because one of the issues I think some of the older generations have is not understanding the benefits, not knowing that, hey, Social Security is not just for Social Security. It's your thing. It's we thing.
Yeah.
So we should be the ones fighting for it and protecting it. And I think that is something that we were missing in the older generations. So I'm happy to see that you guys are starting early.
We've done this for a long time, but we're going to highlight it. Maybe we're going to do some video work so the public can see
Love it.
what happens in the classroom with the students. It's very exciting, very
Love
exciting
it. I
stuff.
love it.
And so the objective is to introduce and to influence. So when we leave there, the idea is for you to go home and tell mommy. Go home and ask daddy if he's paying, and tell him if he doesn't pay, this could be the consequence, and
Yes.
so on, right? And so sometimes I see people and they say, hi, Miss Lawrence. I say, you know me? Yeah, you come to my school. And no, these is big working people.
Oh,
So
wow.
like, okay, Cam, you're doing this a long time. But the
Yes.
fact that they remembered mean it was impactful.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we
Definitely.
want Social Security not just for the old.
Mm-hmm.
The value is contributing now so you could benefit later.
This is good. This is awesome. And I know you guys also give the scholarships, because my godson, who was a recipient of the scholarship, now works there. Shamar.
Shama,
Yes.
Shama is in our legal unit.
Yes.
Very bright young man.
Thank you.
Yes, and Shama, yes. You know, since 1983, hey, social nice. Let's me get me goosebumps.
Listen, it's all
You
right.
see the comfort
Yes, yes.
Oh.
And it's not the AC.
No. Since 1983, Social Security as an independence gift, so we're in our 40th installation of new students, inductees, have been making a contribution in education. We believe that if our people are educated, they will create employment, and that will eventually mean contributions to Social Security to propel the fund. So we've done good investment in that regard, and we have a number of persons who have benefited. Premier Mac Brantley is one, Sugar Bowl, Shamar, Joanne Kelly, lots of Dr. Chanel Nisbet, lots of students, St. Kitts and Nevis. We have an alumni of over 200 students.
That's
And and not only do we provide financial support, there is a mentorship and internship component. And many of our students are fully employed at Social Security when they're finished. So we have, right now we probably have maybe 6, including some who are even older than I am.
Oh my goodness.
So you know that they've been doing their work there. Social Security has been doing a great job there.
You want to take a call,
It
Ken?
really has.
Sure.
Okay, well, 2 calls.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Welcome, caller.
Okay, let's go to the other
we lost
one.
that one.
Come on. Caller, go right ahead.
Hello.
Good morning, is
Good morning.
Silent Tea?
Yes, it is. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I want to say good morning to Azard and the rest of the folks there on the panel.
Good
Thank
morning.
you. Good
I just
morning.
want to applaud the lady at Social Security. And at the same time, I want to shout from the top of my voice and encourage everybody out there that is working to pay their Social Security, simply because I'm benefiting now, and it gives me pleasure to sit at home and enjoy the benefits of paying my Social Security. So I want to say kudos to Social Security and to encourage the whole Federation to continue if they're doing it, and if they haven't started, to start, because it only goes well in your senior age. Thank you very much.
so much.
Thank you,
so
caller.
for
Thank
that
you for
caller.
calling and
Yes.
encouraging.
Yes, that's very important. And I like, see, I get them again. Aye. Right? I'm really,
It's
really,
working.
Yes.
I'm really passionate about what I do because it's important. I consider my work a noble one.
But clearly the callers know you're passionate, because here's another call.
Wow.
Island T, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning to Island Tea and good morning to my family.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're doing a very good job. I mean, I expect no less.
Thank you.
Now, Richard Keynes, you know Richard Keynes?
Yes.
He is responsible for a lot of the changes and the social aspect of Social Security. It is he who started the scholarship thing. You know, sometimes when I hear people calling the names, they stay with those who started.
That's
Remember, he
important.
started in 678, and by
Yes.
80 the government changed, so only 2 years they had out there, right? That's not the politics. But I'm saying that Richard Keynes deserves a lot more credit than he's given. Now, in the issue with France, what I learned listening to the discussion even by the unions was that it isn't that they're so concerned about the 64, but what they were saying that most companies push out the elderly at 56. So when you go to 64, they now have 8 years to wait. So what they were calling upon the government to do was to pass a law that would encourage companies to keep the elderly a little longer. Have you ever heard or thought about that?
Yes, I've heard that aspect as well.
Yeah, because I mean, a civil servant like me, I retired at 55. I had to wait 7 years to get my pension.
Yeah. 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if people still have in their mind that 55 you must go home, and you go on to 75, mean 10 years before they collect.
True.
So maybe as they're asking in France that the government make some whether laws or something that you don't want to push them out. So when you're done 60, so go home, and then you got 4 years, you know?
Yes, I
But it's a
understand.
and the longer you all delay, I think the time is now.
Yes, we recognize that the time is
Yeah,
now.
I mean, it's since 2011 this decision was made. You keep pushing, but you're pushing still.
Yeah.
It should be at least, if not this year, next year.
Well, we've begun the work. We've begun the sensitization.
Yeah, but the
and
work has been done already. Just tell them, please. By now, they hate you know. And the one with the self-employed, You all have to get serious. Go down by the bus stop. Go where they are, because you see, I told you all when they had the thing in 2020, do not give them. Because you give them and they're gone back to normal. Does the law provide for any taking them to court also? Can you?
Yes, the law provides that we take them to court, as well as the law provides an act, we call it Act number 17, comply or be denied, not act, well, regulation.
Yeah, I'll send them a notice,
right?
Just send them a notice.
And if...
The same one they use to get Social Security help, send them a notice, have one of your workers go into the 3 bus stops and in the taxi stands and so, and give it to them in the hand.
Okay, Miss
Talking and
Henry.
getting them nowhere.
Okay, Miss Henry, we're out of
All right
time.
then.
Thank you
It's,
so much for
Thank
your
you for
contribution.
your contribution, Miss Henry.
Okay,
Thank you.
It's 1 minute after 9 o'clock. Okay, I give you a minute to wrap up.
Sure, no problem.
He's gracious.
No, in relation to the self-employed, we do not have a registration problem. They register.
Yeah.
They register for a number of reasons, whether it's concessions, interest pact, they register. The problem is compliance. And we can speak here all day about that. The law does give us teeth to take a self-employed person to court for not paying for himself. We've not done that yet, but probably the time is now. Imagine we carrying your court for treating yourself bad. Right? And then in terms of the regulation, comply or be denied. If we come to you and we ask you to register and comply and you have not done so, we keep a record. So when you come back to us at 62 saying you need an assistance pension, we pull your file and say, go from me, you workers of iniquity, I do not know you.
Listen to me. Thank you, Carmen.
Yes.
Right? So we can do more on our compliance end. It takes a collective effort. All of us have a responsibility to police the Social Security Fund. Until next time, guys, thank you for having me. And employers, remember to pay your contributions in full and on time. Self-employed persons, you have the responsibility to take care of yourself. Employees, check on your status like how you just check on people's WhatsApp.
Yes.
Have a great day, y'all.
Thank you so much. I love the ending, right?
Yes. Those
Have a good
punchlines.
one, Cam.
Have a good
Thanks
line.
for coming in.
Have a good one, Cam.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 9:02. We've got the Farm Report coming up next.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Music's finest artists converge in Bastille from June 22nd to June 24th for the 25th hosting of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Hitting the festival main stage will be Skillybang, Chronix, Coffee, Byron Messiah, Anthony B, Governor, Romaine Virgo, TJ, Valiant. Them boy don't got nobody. Grandmasters, Collision Band, Small X Band, New Vibes Band International, Mr. Bagdal, Akayu Sweet, Preedy, Guess the Band, Ricardo Drew, Patrice Roberts, Skinny Fabulous, Nyla Blackman, Status. Erica Edwards, 313 Family, Gramps Morgan, Nitra B, Ear Supply, Dexter Daps, and Burner Boy. It's the 25th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from June 22nd to June 24th at Warner Park. An experience like no other. Tickets are now available at stkittsmusicfestival.com.
9:05. It's time for the farm report. We got Troy Flanders on deck and his +1.
Good morning, farmers.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing today?
Oh, we good.
I can tell.
Yeah,
Look at your bright green.
Had some rain last night, man.
Oh, so the rain has you in a good mood.
Yeah, man.
Less watering of your crops, right?
Yeah.
Nature is helping.
You know, the place is a bit hot right now. So
Oh,
That
tell
is
me about
true.
it. Oh,
So
God.
tell us who you brought to join us today.
Good morning to all listening. I'm Virin. Troy Flanders here for the Farm Report. Alongside me is Mr. Kyle Flanders, and he'll do most of the talking today. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
Kyle Flanders. I currently work at the Ministry of Agriculture, but I'm not here in that capacity. I'm on vacation, so I'm just here to speak to my passion for the sector outside of the day job.
All right.
Okay.
This should be interesting. So take it off.
Okay, so today I was trying to hit on a number of topics. The first one I wanted to hit on was, of course, some of the challenges faced by farmers and the farming sector in St. Kitts. And we know that it's been discussed to a lengthy breadth. And after that, we know some of the issues: water, pests, monkey, and also financing. So today I want to kind of delve a little deeper into the financing aspect of things.
Right.
And I also wanted to touch on some of the consequences of the lack of the support from, let's say, the private sector in certain areas. And then lastly, if we have time, I want to just weigh in on the debate of the GMOs. Last week there was a caller and there was some discussion about GMOs. So I just wanted to weigh in a bit on that from my perspective.
All right.
So let me know if I could just jump right
Of
in.
course, yes. Jump right in.
Okay, so like I said, I want to focus on the financial aspect of the challenges faced by farmers in St. Kitts. Studies were done, and it showed that one of the top three issues would be financing. And you would realize that most of our financial institutions here in St. Kitts, they don't really readily lend to persons who want to borrow for farming. Of course, the Development Bank has an offer right now where $20,000, you can get $20,000, but that can only go so far in farming. Most of the other, I did some research myself. I did a thesis on the value chain of financing in St. Kitts. So I did some little research. And you would find that most of the commercial banks don't really lend monies to persons to pursue farming or stuff in the agricultural sector. What they would do, they would recommend that you go for personal loan and then you can then use that for whatever. But you're going to hit with the same interest as whoever else. You're going to be hit with the same repayment schedule as whomever else. But that should not be, because the agricultural sector is a special sector in the sense that there are ebbs and flows, right? There are ebbs and flows. So you can't expect that repayment should be the same as someone in another sector. For example, harvest time, money would be booming that time. During the slower part, what happens? So you need to make those kind of arrangements where farmers can do what you call balloon payments. So when harvest come around, you pay, so you go way ahead, and then when it's slow time, they can pay whatever little to keep it going. So this is not really readily available for farmers. The credit unions, I've looked through some of the annual general meeting booklets, and you've seen where they disperse loans to various sectors. Agriculture would have gotten some, but that's like the smallest part of the pie. Look at the pie charts, agriculture just in there to take a magnifying glass to see, right? So they do try, but we know that the sector is inherently risky. There's risk in that sector because you can't control nature, right? So, but we need somebody to mitigate that risk overall. One other way in which you can do that is for insurance. Most insurance companies do not offer crop insurance or any kind of farm insurance in St. Kitts. Imagine if you know that if I have some bad weather, I have something to compensate for my loss in crops and things like that. You're going to be more enthused, more readily to go and cultivate. But we don't have that cover of something like insurance. So those are some issues that the farming community is facing. And this is where the private sector can come on board and try to facilitate some of these things. I've read places where certain banks would have specialists inside the bank who know about agriculture. That's their specialty. So they're able to develop products just for that sector. so they know what to do. I'm not too sure. I could be stand to be corrected, but I don't know if any banks or even the development bank have that agricultural specialist within their ranks that could steer the financing to where it needs to go.
So you've made a lot of really good points, and I can't help but go back to something that one of the farmers said in probably the second farm report, because the first one I think we just had Troy, and he was admonishing farmers and basically, well, apart from admonishing, pleading with them to take farming as a serious business, right? Have records, do bookkeeping, treat it as you would treat any other business, because it is a business and it's serious business. And so that makes me wonder if that is one of the reasons why we're getting this approach by the financial sector. As in, you come for a loan and it's for a business, but the business is farming, but you can't really show reports. You can't show, well, okay, this is what happens during sowing period. So, like you said, the ebb and flow. This is what happens during reaping period. So it's obviously higher than, sowing period. So that is just my thought. And I think it's something that I've asked Troy and the other farmers every single time that they visited. What strides are you guys making? Are you doing training? Are you having courses where you're, educating even the older farmers? Because at one point in time, everybody had a backyard garden, and sometimes that would have multiplied into a bigger farm, but it is a business. So I can't help but wonder if that's one of the reasons why it's difficult getting financing and even insurance. But I do like your point, because it is something that they should take into consideration.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. Now, this is why I said before that these entities, these institutions should have someone within who can guide the farmers, guide them, show them, okay, this is what we need, this is how we can reach there. Because the reality is, most of our farmers, they're not really versed in that. So yes, training is needed, but also we need the help from the private sector to help them. Even, I know some banks have small business units or whatever. Even that, they don't have anyone dedicated to that sector. So you'll say, bring a business plan, bring the records, the data. But do you have someone to help them to get there, to guide them to get there? So that's why I like the idea of the consortium, because they can bring in persons to really help with that kind of thing, that kind of training. But it's an all hands on deck approach, I feel. So they would do their part, government would do their part, and the private sector would do their part to help everybody reach their goal.
So the role you see the private sector playing is in helping the consortium to better, help themselves.
Help the consortium and those who choose not to be a part of. I'm glad you mentioned backyard farming, because I'm passionate about that also, because that's part of where we grew up, backyard gardening, that kind of thing. So they too need that kind of support. They need that support from all sectors. So so the private sector can help with that, because they're going to benefit in the end. If I'm a good customer, a repeat customer, I come back, I get my loan, you got me for whatever years, I'm paying good. Everybody can benefit in that case. So it's up to them also, in their best interest, to help the sector to grow. So we don't have to touch on my next thought, which is imports. We don't have to have these vast levels of imports.
So tell me, okay, so I'm part of the private sector. Ideally, what role do you see me playing? Like, how can I help the cause? How can I push it further along?
Well, I want to see them develop, like I said, products specific for the sector. Like I said, in my readings and stuff like that, there was an example in Jamaica where a credit union sat down and developed a whole lending system surrounded just for the sector. So they developed the payment installments for payments. They developed even the on credit certain things on credit, those kind of things.
Okay.
Right? It's not only the financial institutions either. You have this thing where you call a lead firm in other places, where there's a big firm or two that would help with overall financing of the sector too. So there's a company that has imports, and they would give you imports, on credit, knowing that when the harvest season come, they take back how much they lent you, and things like that. So you want to see even those entities get involved in helping to finance the overall sector, where it is you even do some contract farming, where maybe a supermarket might say, I'm going to buy X amount or lease X amount of land, and then we have persons work on that land, and then that would help to keep the money in St. Kitts also, and help to, some farmers might just want to do maybe 8 to 5 or 8 to 4. right? If you got that at your disposal, you might not have to stress so much about where inputs coming from, that kind of thing. You just work, you do your work. Right? So even that angle can be used to finance certain entity endeavors.
Okay.
You know, I've heard you, Kyle, speak about the financial institutions and the private sector, which I do think that really needs to be echoed more, because when you look at it, you see that there is more that can be done by the private sector. My question is, because I always think that, and I don't want to put you in a spot because I know you work at the Ministry of Agriculture, is because I don't want to put you in a spot, because you're not here representing the ministry. But in my thoughts, these are things that perhaps the ministry could have some collaboration and voice with the private sector to urge them to try to assist farmers and come up with these policies. Because I see the government as the voice of the people, and they have a sector that I think is very important. We all know and stress the benefits of agriculture. Agriculture is necessary, and I think if this is a short stop, that the ministry ought to be proactive and actually advocating on behalf of farmers in order to get certain policies passed within. Because Development Bank, government has some control over that as well. And National Bank, government has some control over that. So we could at least see where some assistance could be given to farmers who benefit our federation.
Fair point.
And that is why I said that I mentioned Development Bank at the top, because I know that the government is helping in that regard. Now there's I've listened to the show many times, and I've heard people say, well, you want the government to do everything? So this is where we have that balance that has to happen. Right? The government is doing their part. Right? They're doing their part. Like we developed a strategy plan, and to develop that plan, we had interviews with a wide part of the country, right? Including financial institutions. So we actually reached out to them to help them, for them to help us to develop certain things. So if you look at the plan, whenever it's rolled out, you will see that that's part of the overall direction that the government is going.
Yes.
But now we do need the buy-in from, like, this is not just a one sector thing. We need the buy-in from everybody.
Okay,
public,
so good.
Private partnership.
So government has been doing its part.
Of course,
okay,
government is doing their part that, to help with this whole thing.
I'm happy to hear that, because, persons that listen to the show regularly will know that I always say that education is key. I feel as if, and when I say that, I don't mean formal sit-down education alone. I think if we all understand where we're coming from and what we're all supposed to be working towards, right, then we stand a better chance. I like your idea of having someone with a specialty in these institutions that actually understand the way agriculture works and understand that agriculture is just not farming, as in planting stuff in the ground. It's also livestock, it's also fishing and marine. So I think for me, it needs more sensitization. I feel as though the agriculture department, and I know you guys have an open day coming up, so I'm wishing you all the success with that.
Thank you.
Because I see that as a way to bring the public in one area where you can then submerge them into what it is you all are really about. Right, so I think education is the way to go. We need more sensitization, and that's why we push the farm report on this program especially. We offer them an opportunity to come in and let the public know what is really happening, what it's about, because it concerns all of us. It's our food security.
It is.
So I really hope that that's something that the agricultural department is pushing and, getting into schools. I couldn't help but remember what Cam just said in social security presentation. They go into the schools. They start at the young age, immerse them into it.
Right now, if you check the Ministry of Agriculture, if you check their Facebook page and their YouTube channels, you'll see that they have gone into the school to promote the Open Day, to get the children excited and ready for Open Day. But apart from that, I taught agriculture science at high school for about 13 years. So I've been at the forefront.
You don't look old enough to have taught that long, sir.
Thank you. I've been at the forefront of trying to get students involved in education. And I've seen some of the fruits of my labor. Currently, there are about 7 persons working at the ministry and the department that I taught in school.
That's good.
So you can see that that's a way in which you can get the students early, get them onto agriculture and the love for it, develop the love for it. So I have a passion for that aspect also, get them involved early. So not only formal, but like you said, the other type of education. I don't know if you're aware, but CFPC has a nice program, a nice tertiary level agricultural program. Right?
Oh, enlighten us. Tell
Yes,
us.
they do. So if you graduate from high school and you want to pursue agriculture at this tertiary level, CAPE level, there's a program at the CFPC. They have 3 tracks. You can go down the agribusiness route, the general, or the technical route. So a good thing I could put a plug for that. So students out there who are taking CXC this year, when you pass your CXC, especially agriculture science, there is a program at CFPC for you. Right? The education system is developed in a way that anyone can be a part of agriculture. I know some people would hit the education system saying that, they want to do agriculture, they're beating it down, etc. But that's not true. Any student from 1 to whatever class you want to call below, they can do agriculture. Because agriculture is a subject that is very scalable. You might have the highfalutin big words part up there, so you can do that. Or the technical part. When I taught classes from A1 to A5, I would tell my A5 students, look here, you could pass this easy. Because the SBAs are technical. Some of them go and they do the transplanting, they clean the eggs, they do the fertilization and stuff like that. And they sometimes outperform those who are at the higher stream. They would know the bookish and all that kind of stuff. They would know that. But there's room for everybody in agriculture.
Okay.
And so if we cultivate enough, then you may have enough to pull from for these institutions to get people in to help with the financing and everything else.
You have just made me very excited.
Okay, we have a call.
So
let's take this call. It's 9:22. Farm report. Okay, it looks like the person. Let's go to the other.
Hello, good morning.
Farm report.
Good morning,
Go ahead.
everybody in there.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am good, man. I'm good. All are you good too?
Yes, thank you.
So good, thanks.
Yeah, you sound good. To the agriculture personally, representative. Agriculture is on land and sea. And what we needed here in St. Kitts, we need more actions than talking about agriculture. Number one, the biggest problem to agriculture and land here is the monkey them. And how we've been hearing that this agriculture department making 20 traps for monkey. 20 traps is not enough for the population. 30-something thousand monkeys we got in St. Kitts, And when 20 traps gonna catch 20 monkeys, I don't know when that gonna happen because monkey very smart. As long as monkey see something different to a tree, they ain't going to touch it. So we need shooting them, eliminate the population, don't kill all. Otherwise, our agriculture and land would not get anywhere. The amount of farmers keep balling, some of them chop their hand in the air, they say they're done with that. Because they plant, they sow some seeds today, the seeds come up Saturday, monkey going to pull up. What else to do? What else left here to be done? We need to focus on the leech or the parasite that is killing the agriculture planted stuff first before we focus on say sustenance of food. Because when they kill the tree, we wouldn't have no food to be sustained, So up in the agriculture thing, what they're going to have next week or this week, don't look out for a load of good food because monkey destroy them. Look out for more fish and other animals. Thank you very much, people, for listening.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you, Culture.
Would you like to comment?
Sure. As it relates to the monkey problem, it is a major problem, yes. And from the perspective of the ministry department, we are doing a lot to try to counter that problem. For example, we're doing education. We're teaching farmers that, sometimes you can plant certain fruit trees as barriers so that you can prevent the monkeys from coming down.
We have another call. Let's take the call. Farm report, go right ahead.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, caller, please be brief.
Because they're coming up tomorrow and Friday. I didn't enjoy it last year. Yeah, the monkey is the problem. And what somebody calling there and said Monday, that the monkey now eating out the heart of the breadfruit tree and other tree where we want to pay more fruit, so I don't know. They need to work on these. I don't know government. You know, here, me don't know what they are doing. They just come agriculture. They can't pull out people in agriculture talk and nothing. I don't know. As Mr. Culture just say, you got to work on the monkey, them, get range up the people to go back to the mountain and start shooting on the mountain. And like I was here a couple of weeks ago, you can't let the people them who in a barn, who don't even never see a monkey yet, them about the human rights and this road come at about how we mustn't think. That's what they used to do to get the cane, them still good. Yes, they will eat a few, but not a lot. My father was a gunner man. I come meet him a gunner man. You hear? You know, and that's what helped. In the other area, I was gunner man. To the country, I don't know what this government do. Country, Mr. Culture talking about the country, just a dead no to you. Nothing doing talking to my area. You ready to see maybe only more, a little more fish you're going to see our food. We need to work on them. What scientists need to come tell us. I was speaking to a gentleman over Nevis Monday. He said, your monkey over here to like nothing.
Okay, caller.
Yeah, thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your contribution so much.
I know you were expounding about how you guys are actively working to fight the monkey as a pest.
Mm-hmm. So those are some recommendations we're making. We are recommending that we use electric fencing, so that we offer the way in which to obtain that electric fencing. So we have seen monkeys when they touch the fence, they realize electricity is in this, and they will back up. Right? And it's powered by solar energy, so that's renewable. We also look at forced trapping. That's another part of it.
You were talking about trees as well?
What's that?
Trees, the barrier trees, like that was new to me.
Yeah, so something you can plant fruits, mangoes, whatever, so that the monkey can eat that, and by the time they're full, it might not come down in your area. So that's another method of dealing with that. There's also, of course, we have a feral unit that goes around shooting. Mm-hmm. But I want to propose one thing. That's why I say I prefer agriculture to be a cross-sectorial approach, right? I'm wondering, this is not me as a representative of the ministry, it's just me wondering, right? Is there a problem if, let's say, farmers are allowed to, let's say, get rifles so that they can actually shoot the monkeys on site, on spot? Because if you're going to call and say, a monkey or a pig or whatever in my farm, by the time you reach.
Yes, every farmer has actually said that. But I also noted, and I think everyone may have missed it, the person that called before the lady, he said, you can't kill all of them, because one of the things that we don't realize that monkeys actually do, they help with pollination as well, because when they're moving and hopping back and forth, it gets trapped in their fur and that type of thing. So, and then you don't want to actually make them an extinct species, so there must be a balance. But as it relates to the rifles, I think Troy, the very first day he came in, that was something he suggested, and we agreed to disagree on it. I think control would have to be, a very active part of giving the farmers a rifle.
Just one more part before we move on from that. As it relates to the balance, we do realize that the monkey is an invasive species, which means it doesn't belong in St. Kitts. So I don't think there'll be that dramatic of economic imbalance if they're gone. That's just my personal take. They're invasive. That is why we cannot control them. That is why they're so out of hand. They don't belong in St. Kitts. So from my perspective, if they're gone, I think food security, because they don't belong here. But one thing though, you do realize that part of our branding, our tourism product, is the monkey. So that's a debate that needs to be had.
I'm happy you said that. There have some monkeys that have been here longer than some of us.
But it's a debate that might be too long to, because it would lead to, if we're going to think, is it that we really want the monkey issue, or is it that the tourism product is bigger, so, so...
You don't think the population could be controlled? Yeah. We'll have you come back so we can have that debate.
Okay. And I had some that I could come back at a later time.
Of course.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It has been very informative and interesting. Thank you so much.
No problem.
The consortium, we're having a meeting tonight, so I'm inviting all farmers in Parsons Village, Parsons Community Center from 7 o'clock.
Guys,
Okay,
just turn
awesome.
up, turn out.
Yeah.
Just give it a chance. If it's not your thing, then fair enough. But at least go listen.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today
Thank
on
you.
the Farm Report. Have an awesome remainder of the week.
You too.
Thank you.
From the South, 98.9. Win FM.
Hey kids, drink healthy.
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, yummy.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, yummy.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Rams is for you and me. Giving back to community. Rams is for you and me. Better for your family. Better service, better price, better value, better choice. Rewarding you for loyalty. Rams is for you and me. Better price and quality.
It's 9:32. And we're going to be having another sit down with the St. Kitts Cricket Association election candidates. So that's going to be coming up soon. And we have got Calvin James. He is a candidate for the St. Kitts Cricket Association elections taking place tomorrow. And he's here to continue his campaigning for the presidency for cricket improvement in St. Kitts Nevis. Good morning, sir.
Good morning and welcome back.
Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's such a pleasure to be here.
How are you this morning?
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Great.
Unfortunately, I lost a couple of my colleagues as we got the setback in the schedule.
Yes,
But
our apologies.
the
It was a
guys-
scheduling conflict.
The guys was very busy this morning, but you know, we have to do what we have to do.
Definitely. So tell us why we're here today. We just
Well,
have like
we're
a
here
short time, but
today
push it.
as really as a follow-up to yesterday.
Yes.
In the sense of our interest in really changing or revolutionizing cricket in St. Kitts through our new team.
Yes.
We believe that this is very important, especially for not only cricketers, but overall the country, the federation, in the sense of sports tourism. We believe this is very, very essential for us, and we think that we would like to let the public know a little bit of our programs that we have, and not only that too, we are inviting the public at the media center this afternoon. We will be further meeting with individuals in regarding cricket.
Great. Where's the media center?
The media center is located at Warner Park
Okay.
in the Paul Southwell Media Center on the east side of Warner Park. That should be a very interesting meeting because I think people really want to know. We've been getting quite a lot of responses from the social media
Great. Great.
regarding that. And we really want to really touch on some of the things that been gone wrong and which we want to improve.
So give us an idea.
In the sense of even the bylaws, even some of the so-called restrictions and non-restrictions that they brought in recently, and trying to eliminate our contestants from participating, saying they're not eligible. For an example, Troy Beef Mills, he's a member of the Umpires Association for years. He adjudicated a game up to Sunday, and he getting a letter saying that he's not a member of the St. Kitts Cricket Association.
So should you guys win this election, what can we expect from you guys?
Well, what you expect from us, you'll be seeing cricket playing right across the island, first and foremost. We've been getting advice for that. Up to yesterday, we had an interview with clubs, and we had only 2 clubs was there. And they want to see cricket not only at Connery. We have 9 venues, and we don't have no structured, organized cricket apart from the practice from the clubs. So we like to see, you have this weekend cricket in Molyneux, next weekend cricket down in St. Paul's. We need to have cricket, a program, a proper structured program for cricket. And we need to see a proper program develop in the schools. I think that is the really area. That's the feeder for clubs. So if you don't have cricket organized with collaboration with the Ministry of Sports and the Ministry of Education, cricket is going to die. We had about 8 or 9 clubs several years ago. Now we're down to 3, possible 5. That's an indication. Wow. But then we will say that, look, the Cricket Association have done something, but very little. They would say that they have 5 juniors that went off to Leeward Islands. But how many juniors were on the island playing cricket? So, these are some of the issues. And there are the issues, too, that I think is very, very important. We have to take a close look at the financial statement. The financial statement of the Cricket Association has not been audited for up to 10 years. Oh. We have a physical statement coming to us, and we have never got an audited statement for about 10 years from the Cricket Association. And it's been incorporated since 2014.
I think that's a big one.
Yes. This is a serious problem we have there. We need accountability and transparency. We need to hear more talking, more public relations on the radio, which we will be addressing. We started already because our colleague, the secretary, Beef Mills, you realize how many interviews already have. For the very first time, you had this kind of campaigning in cricket. This is where we're showing the people what we intend to do, reaching out to the people. We need, not only that too, we have to listen to the people. A lot of youngsters yesterday, even though I was surprised, they're giving us so many ideas and so many challenges they had that we don't get it in the media. It's all hushed down. This old boys network, they keep it quiet. So we need to open things up and let people understand cricket is the country. It has a very strong economic impact on the country. Apart from CPL, but from a local situation. Because to the locals, we get exposure. Where is this? You ever heard about any cricket player get a cricket scholarship? We're looking into that. We need to get a scholarship for cricketers. You get scholarship for athletes, you get scholarship for football, you get basketball, but you never hear them reach out and say, boy, we inquiring or investigating or trying to get a scholarship for a youngster. So these are some of the things that we want to really let the people know our intentions. We are here to be all inclusive. We want to reach out to the rural areas, and we want to look at how we can get another school grounds within Bastille. The primary school, you can play on AstroTurf, temporary grounds, have them start to learn cricket, have cricket being in school more active. Let them know the benefits, a holistic approach. Safety, nutrition, critical thinking, planning, and you only can do that by reaching out to, because we can't do it alone, and we don't intend to do it alone. We have to reach out to the general people by talking to them. So these are some of these things.
I think you brought forward some excellent ideas. I couldn't help but notice you said you heard from the youths.
Yes.
And they were actually complaining and saying things that they wanted to see and things that were missing. And
Correct.
I think that is a key component to going forward.
Yes.
Because those are the persons you're advocating for. So you definitely need to listen to them.
Definitely.
But I also noticed that you said there are 9 grounds, but only 1 is being used. Are the others in workable conditions?
All the grounds are in workable conditions. We have Keon, we have Molyneux, we have down in St. Paul's, we have Sandy Point, we even have Virtuals, And well, the only ground in Bastia we have to play cricket outside of Warner Park is the Limekeel grounds, and that is used shared with football. You know, so the only place you really have cricketers, the guys from William Connor, the youngsters from William Connor, they have to go to Connery grounds to play cricket. When you could easily put a temporary grounds at Patsy Allen's where we used to play cricket, that was a hub of cricket in the good old days.
Okay, it's 9:40. You have 4 minutes left, Mr. James. I want you to get to the meat of what you're gonna do to make sure that people know that there's cricket in St. Kitts, and you got to be tight and to the point.
Yes. Well, some of the points that we want to really highlight in cricket is that the first thing we really want to do is to reach out to the people, as I've said before. We're reaching out to the Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Education, first and foremost. We want to reach out to the rural areas and the clubs. We have a plan for them, but we want to hear what they're saying, and we can merge both together. That's very important. We also want to look at the conditions, the Constitution. The Constitution needs to be revised. That's another issue that we have. So that's one of the other thing that we'll be doing. We'll be looking at fundraising. Fundraising, another thing. We need a revenue stream. We need to reach out to corporate St. Kitts, the lawyers, the doctors, the corporate St. Kitts, and put a fundraising plan. And that goes with public relations. So those are some of the main points that we really want to tackle, given the time that I have this morning, you know. But we'll be on other radio stations also.
So what time is the elections tomorrow?
The elections tomorrow, I think it's 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
At Warner Park. I believe it's at the media center.
Could you give us the list of the persons who will be contesting the various positions?
Oh boy.
I know you said it before, but for persons who might have missed that, we want to know your team members. I know.
Oh, well, I can speak specifically on my team members.
Yes.
Okay,
That's what we meant.
Okay.
What I meant, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, my team members, we have Austin Williams, will be running for the position of vice president. You have Troy Beef Mills, he'll be treasurer. And we have Carl Francis, he will be the assistant secretary treasurer. Elvis Isaac, he'll be a member of the committee. And your humble servant Calvin Jane will be running for president. Those are the teams we have. But we have other members who have given their support, but they ask that we will wait until the election for that commitment.
That's no problem. Could you give me an idea of the number of persons eligible to vote at that election?
That's a question we've been asking. We have not get it. That's another question we've been asking. We asked them to give us the agenda, which they sent out about a day or so ago. We asked them to give us who are the candidates that running, which they give us again a day or two ago, when they had it for 17 or 18 days, and they knew who was running, so they have a head start on us. And we asked also for the names of the eligible voters, which we have not received.
Okay, Mr. James, you have 1 minute to wrap up.
Yep.
Make your case. 1 minute. Let's go.
So I want to really thank WINNFM for giving me this opportunity to really bring all these issues here, and the opportunity to really enlighten the public, because the public need to know what's really going on in cricket. Cricket is being quiet for quite some time, and we need to be open and let them know the truth of what's going on.
Okay.
And that's basically what I would like to say. Thank you very much again for having me.
No problem.
And we'll be at the media center later today.
Definitely.
We're going to take
and
a short
good
break.
luck tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's 9:44, and we are going to be talking to Peter Jenkins about the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant Leadership Program that's coming up next. Genevieve will be joining him.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Sardine have a new vibe. Brunswick Sardine have a new Brunswick Sardine Filet. It have a new vibe. You hear what me say? Run go to your favorite supermarket or corner shop and grab a couple things today. Cause this a sitting where everybody a go like. Brunswick Sardine have a new vibe. 5 different flavors for you to try. Brunswick Sardine have a new vibe. Plus it boneless. Oh yes, that's right. Brunswick Sardine have a new vibe. Packed with nutrition in every bite. It tastes nice. Brunswick Sardine have a new vibe.
Hey kids, drink healthy.
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors. Drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, yummy.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy. Drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, yummy.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
$9:45, and it's all about leadership. We've got Peter Jenkins and company, and here we go.
And we're back. We
You're
are
by the chief.
joined by we're joined by CFBC Jenkins leadership.
J.
Oh, go ahead. Jenkins.
Yes.
No, G.
Jenkins. I stand corrected.
Yes. So we're here, we're talking about leadership, we're talking about the plans of the organization. We have with us Mr. Jenkins and also Mr. Mills. Could you both give us an idea of what is expected from the organization in which you are part of?
Hello?
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Okay, I get to go first.
I know.
Blessed morning. It's good to be here in the studios of Win FM and to be
Yes.
joining this wonderful group of people, Mr. Gumbs and Franklin, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I know I had that right. See, we're here to commemorate our 10th anniversary and to just share with the general public some of the activities that would have gone thus far and activities that we have planned in the next few days to continue this commemoration. Mr. Jenkins, the wise man here, he would break the conversation and speak to what we have planned for tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow is Thursday, and then thereafter he'll give me a tap so I could come back right in.
Thank you very much, Jenny, Mr. Bills, and thank you to the host of this program. What was the first name? Candy, like sweetie.
Yes, sir.
Azard.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having us. The purpose perhaps could be threefold, but firstly, I want to thank both of you for having us and for allowing us the opportunity to be on the program previously.
Yes.
And that assisted us in achieving the objective that we had set.
Awesome.
So I want to
That's
thank
good.
Win FM and the other radio stations that assisted. So, thanks to you, we had 50 persons attend the course on last week Thursday,
Lovely.
That's good.
including
good.
some badgers.
That's good.
So we had, as I said, 46 filled the questionnaire that was issued at the end so that we can have feedback in terms of what the course achieved. And I dare say that over 95 were more than satisfied or extremely satisfied.
Oh, wow.
That's a good number.
And you were able to do a survey as well. Well, look
Yeah,
at
we
that.
did the survey. We did a survey. These are all the survey sheets right here.
Effective.
There were some other questions. Did you learn anything new? 100% yes. Did the knowledge obtained, would you be able to use it? 100% yes. Would you attend another seminar? 100% yes. How likely are you to recommend someone to a similar program? Very likely, highly likely, 100%. Where we fell down on time. We started late and ended late. And that is a national disease that we have to work on to try to correct. So I want to thank Ross University, who allowed us the use of their facility at no cost. The lecturers who came and delivered at no cost. We had Terence Quasman dealing with wealth and investment. Mr. Alexander from Delete Walwyn and Lady Simmons from Ross, they dealt with the individual. There is a lady, Jara Jacobs, who dealt with mental health, and Dr. Patrick Martin dealt with physical health.
Lady O'Dane and myself dealt with leadership and management principles, and Mrs. Vanicia Walters from the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union and Asim Jenkins, they dealt with leadership challenges. In that last one, as a young leader, he presented what were the challenges that he faced as a young leader, and then Mrs. Walters, as a more experienced leader, she looked at possible solutions. So that's gone. So we look into the future now. So last time I was here, I invited you to a lecture, and you should have received a personal invitation for it. It is tomorrow evening. The topic is small economies in challenging geoeconomics and geopolitical environments, a case for St. Kitts and Nevis and its carry forward partners in pursuing growth and development. In essence, how do we as small states navigate in this world of various challenges that exist? So we start at 7 o'clock at CFBC. It's a public lecture, so it's open to the public.
All bargers welcome.
There won't be badges. There would be invitees. All are invited.
I did see the invitation. I must admit the topic is intriguing. I think I must have seen it on Facebook, or was it someone's status? So I did see the
people with future things, ambitions or perceptions or perceived realities of the future need to attend.
I like that one.
Interesting plug.
In fact, I have a class there with my students from 5 to 7 at CFPC tomorrow. So you'll be around the same time.
So as soon as class finishes, you give
Thank you, Genevieve. I was just about to say that.
As soon as class finishes, you give us a time. But I think Mr. Jenkins gave him that personal invitation just now too.
Exactly.
People have perception of the future.
You know, I saw him look this way, but I wasn't sure if it was me or Azard.
I guess you're being technical, as
exactly.
you always is.
Well, it's only young people like you the future could be for. I'm going downhill. People like you are going up the hill. You know what I mean?
Nice plug.
I like that plug.
I'll take it. But I do think it should appeal to all persons with aspirations for the future, which it includes all of us. But I do like the topic, and so I definitely will try to
I'm looking forward to seeing you, and permit me to thank the University of the West Indies Open Campus. They are partnering with us on this lecture.
Yes, major stakeholder.
Yes, that's a major stakeholder, and we want to thank them, Mrs. Phillip and her team, for coming on board. And so those who are unable to make it, or those who are away, it will be on the UE platform and also on the CFPC platform tomorrow evening.
Perfect.
Yes. However, it's important that you come. They say sometimes seeing is believing, or being there in real life, real time. There's nothing that you can give up for that.
Yeah. Good point.
They will be there. WINNFM will be in the host.
Because I'm seeing the CFPC Jenkins Limited Leadership Program in partnership with the University of the West Indies Open Campus St. Kitts cordially invites you to a public lecture, Small Open Economies in Challenging Geoeconomic and Geopolitical Environments, a case for St. Kitts and Nevis and its carry forward partners in pursuing growth and development. And here he has Dr. Samuel Scott.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you did see perhaps the advert.
Yes.
It was posted 23 hours ago. Shared by CFPC College, and it was posted 4 days ago by the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.
Okay, yes, I did see an ad for it.
But you should have received a personal invitation. I don't want that to escape you.
Yes.
Both of you should have received personal invitation.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take them now. So I know it's your, am I correct in saying 10th? Because this morning I wasn't sure if it was 10 years.
Yes, 10 years anniversary.
It's 10 years, but 9 cohorts, but 10 years we have been functioning for.
That is a very long time. I often tell my clients double digits. So again, congratulations on that. So apart from the lecture, do you guys have other things, or are you now winding down?
Yes, we have other things. We have an alumni workshop that is for Saturday, the 29th. And in this particular workshop, we are asking all past and present cohort members to come just to get some training in entrepreneurial development. And not because we hear, or you're hearing it's entrepreneurial development means that you have to be business oriented. We are saying you're part of a team because we consider ourselves to be a team, a group of persons who want to transcend how St. Kitts and Nevis is looked at, not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but in the Caribbean and on the global scene. So we want all members, past and present, to be a part of this workshop. Dr. Scott will be there facilitating this workshop and giving us his tutelage, his knowledge for free. It's a free. I need to stress that. Azard, can you stress that for me too? That is free.
Free.
Candy, can you tell me it's
free?
free?
Free.
It's free. It's free for us as cohort members, and it's only open to us. And on that day too, Mr. Jenkins is celebrating his Earth Strong. He would not tell us how old he would be.
Which day?
On
Saturday.
the 29th.
Look at
Oh,
that.
that's my birthday as well.
Oh, great minds.
I was waiting for him to make the connection.
I was like, what?
Yeah, so he would not tell us. He would never tell us how old he is.
Okay.
What we can appreciate though as cohort members is that he has often shared this day with us over the past 10 years. Wow. And so what should happen on that day as well is that we should be launching an alumni. And I would lay Mr. Jenkins speak more to the alumni. The reason why I let him speak more to it because he was the brainchild behind what it is, this leadership course, what it is and how it was developed. And I think the alumni would speak to its existence of him, not just now where he's alive, but long after he would have passed and parted with us.
Thank you, Genevieve. Mr. Mills. In the course, we call the men Mr. and the ladies are lady. The females are lady. Right?
Nice.
We don't use the first name, we use the lady. Lady, what's your last name? Lady Franklin. Right?
I like it. I'm taking it.
So, yes. I want to thank Mr. Mills because, in fact, he has a story. I don't want him to tell it today, but the story of how I persisted to make sure that he did the course. And so I'm really grateful that he's here this morning because it reflects almost like a conclusion, so to speak, or full circle, in that he's here leading. I am moving back into the background while these youngsters move forward. So, as I said the last time I was here, the older generation, they had mechanisms coming out of slavery to buttress them, to give them hope against the tyranny of the day. And so they formed like the Black and White Heart and Hand Friendly Society, St. George's Palm Lodge, the other lodges that were used basically to put them together so that collectively they were stronger. The unions, the same thing. So I would like, before I pass, and so that long after I'm gone, that they have an organization that they can turn to as their own, that will buttress them in all areas, whether it is in finance, whether it is in health, whether it is in business development. Whatever are the challenges that they face, they will have an organization of their own which they can turn to. It's voluntary, I can't force anybody, but the vision I have is that they can create perhaps the biggest institution that this country would ever see. Wow. If collectively they can work together, which is the biggest challenge to get us to work together. But I want to make a start. So that's Saturday. So I hope that we can get at least 30%. To date, we should have had about 270 persons that came through the program. So if we get 30%, that's something to start. I have a friend who tells me that, Jamster, you keep us late, you brought us early, then you make us wait again, and now you want to take away time. Whoever shows up, that we will have that. And Dr. Scott, who and I go back 40-something years from University of the West Indies, thought that he should come to St. Kitts to give us support for this program that we are doing. And so I want to thank him in advance. I'm asking persons to register. You need to register so that we can make the arrangements with the caterers, etc. We want to thank IOU and University for allowing us to use their space. That is for Saturday. Free again. So we'll be using this space as IOE, and that's the university just before us.
Right.
They were going to be making these facilities available to us on Saturday. So please call either my number, Genevieve, you have Mr. Mills, you have Lady Jenkins, Lady Gumbs, Lady Roberts, Lady Roberts, Lady Roberts, Lady Roberts, Lady Roberts. Need to see you on Saturday. Lady Gumbs, need to see you on Saturday. Dr. Garfield Alexander, we need to see you on Saturday. Lawrence, Camila Lawrence. I didn't want to call the names because I might forget some names. Prudy, Garfield's brother said, must make sure you notify him because he has to be there. So all of you from the past, please call in and indicate if you're going to be available on Saturday so that we can make the arrangements for refreshments, etc., etc.
Would you like to leave at least two numbers?
Huh?
Would you like to leave at least two numbers?
Yeah, 465-2385, 662-4779, 662-4993. Awesome. So, the other event that we're having, which is the final event, is the... Mr. Mills, you want to deal with it?
If you ask me to, I have no choice.
Please.
So yes, the last event would be a gala on the 27th of May. This is where we will close off the 10th year anniversary activities. And this will be under the auspices of the new Governor General, and it will be hosted at the property of the Governor General on the 27th, and it's a black tie event. And so we are hoping by that time persons would, we have enough time, eh? Today is what, the 26th?
This is true.
So we have
almost a month.
A month and a day to get redundants together. I know when the ladies are stepping out the leg to go and make something new or ordering something from Shein or wherever. So like I said, we have enough time, and we gents, we have enough time to put ourselves and, put our things in order to make sure that the ladies are not looking too spliffy and they have us tagging behind. Because, Azard, the ladies going to beat the face and all these kind of things. All these things.
Hair.
Exactly. So on the 27th of May, this, like I say, it's a black tie event. It's at the Governor General's residence. And we are asking for a small donation of $175. Small donation of $175 to get you in. And if you don't want to be there, we are still asking you to donate this $175. This money is going towards the general upkeep of the Icons Park that we have there at Adlam Hill. We want to use some more durable materials in some instances, and we also would like to add more icons to the park. And this is, of course, at a cost. We would like to add some more benches because we recognize people do utilize the park for what it was intended to, in terms of as a resting place for at afternoons or whatever time of the day. So we'd like to, the funds that we gain from that is for the general upkeep of the park and for any other plans that we may have as a cohort going forward.
For example, Mr. Mills, as you said that we had 2 persons on scholarship at the Leadership Development Workshop on Thursday last week. We sponsored 2 persons just to make sure that, people have opportunity. But having said that, we need a dish from WINNFM, from you. You can cook?
I can cook
She
very
speaks
well.
about her curry days.
Good. So we are looking forward to a dish from you.
Oh, my.
As a presentation to, the program that we are embarking on. And then Jamster.
We're getting
Think
thrown
you'll
under
get
the
away?
bus today.
You'll get away, Jamster. So we will call on you, but we're going to need some assistance from WINNFM. Gratefully. I'm not speaking to Azard yet, because I still have to send the letter to his chambers.
Wow. We're all getting it this morning.
So we want to thank all of you in advance, because I think we, Azard and the host. Who is the host? You're the host?
We both host.
Yes.
Equally?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things which has... Jamster, give me just 2 seconds.
You have been permitted the time. He has no choice.
Go ahead.
We have to understand in St. Kitts and Nevis that we are special people. We are special. We came across the Atlantic. Well, firstly, what happened in Africa to us, and then we came across the Atlantic, then to Pall Mall Square, as it was then. held in the dungeons. Then we went on to the estates. We survived slavery. We represent the people, the strong people who survived that. Because there were many races who did not. They were killed out. They were wiped out. We represent the best of the best in the world. But somehow we don't feel that way. Somehow we feel that other people have disadvantage. And we want to prove that we are as good. In fact, our people serve in top positions all over the world and are excelling. So, this program is intended to instill in our people pride of place and that we can be excellent. What you all are doing here is not a local program. This is an international program that must compete with any other program in the world. That is how we must see it. Yeah, and the standards and the what we strive for should be at that level. So I want to thank both of you. Maybe I'm not communicating effectively enough for you to understand how significant I think this program is and what we are doing in the country. I hope in time that people will see it. And that is why we go back to the Alumni Association, because how do you fight a war? How do you fight a war to win?
If you're not a team.
If you're not a team. Mm-hmm. We have to pull the links together so that I can turn my back and know, well, the back is safe, and you can turn your back and know the back is safe, because we are together in whatever it is that we're trying to do. And St. Kitts and Nevis, we are in a position where we're supposed to be a shining light to the world. That is how I feel. So I've had my rant, and I'm sorry for Jamster for taking you on that rant, but I really feel passionate about our people and the capacity of our people to do excellent things in the world, special things in the world. So we want to thank you this morning. I want to thank Jenny for coming, because I think he has that same vision and that same dream that
Ubuntu.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen him. We're friends on Facebook and otherwise. Yes. I love that analogy. Thank you so much for putting it that way. I feel as though the course is geared towards tapping into the powers that we already have. So thank you so much.
That's exactly what it is. And how do we sustain our social fabric, past, present, and future?
Yes. Love it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. So
see you tomorrow evening, both of you.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a special effort to pass across.
Thank you. Azard, I wouldn't allow you to leave the college. I'm going to be there.
Thank you.
And you do have a wonderful birthday on Saturdays. You know, they say many great people are born in April.
Yeah,
especially
here we go.
You know he was going to jump on that, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a great
may this
day,
day be remembered
everyone.
when we found out we were.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to live it down in here. So thank you so much, Mr. Jenkins. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Island Tea.
Okay, Island Tea. Great show. And we got Spin Cycle coming up next. Nice outfit.
Thank you, Jamster.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
You ever hear earthquake?